Good morning, everyone. So I'm just going to go through how to upload the paper, the drafts, the peer review, and the final paper. Um, so I'm seeing this as a student. So this is what you guys see. And you'll note that there is in week 6 a link to the draft, a couple of samples for the peer review, a link to the peer review, discussion board, and then a link to the final paper. Dropbox. And so for the draft, you're going to be uploading it both to the Dropbox and to the peer review board, just like you've been doing for all your assignments. And when you get to the assignment, you have to click on it in order to see the actual assignment. I've posted the revision cover letter assignments in here. So you're going to do a comparison essay draft. What's the focus of your comparison? What's your motive or so what idea? What's your main thesis? Which class concepts are you using? Which examples from the text specifically? And what are the biggest problems? What are you most pleased about? And then end by asking 2 questions. And of course, feel free to include any other thoughts. The way that this works best is if you have Microsoft Word, you can open up the sample and basically Mad Libs fill in the blank, right? So you just kind of go through and update the information, put our class name, and then be very careful not to take any of the language from the letters. This is somebody else's work. Taking any of their language would constitute plagiarism. So you can see this as an example, that's fine, but you can't take any of their ideas or their work. When you get down to the actual paper, you'd be updating it with your information, so you put your last name there. You see how that's the last name, put the full name, put our class, update the date, come up with a title, read the paper as a sample. Okay, cool. So this is the draft, right? And it's got to have a works cited page. Everything's formatted. You can just kind of, if you've written your draft, you can just kind of put it in here by just kind of like copying and pasting the whole thing in so you don't even accidentally leave any language. Write your letter on your own, copy and paste your letter in, and then just kind of leave, change some of the other things. It's a good strategy. I've also given it to you as a PDF, just in case you need to see it that way. And of course, then you would upload your draft when you're done with it by tonight, or by the due date. So let's see. The peer review, once you upload your draft to the Dropbox, you will then be uploading it as a document to the discussion board. So same as it ever was, just everything, put your title here, make it clear what topic you're using so that other peers who might want to write about that topic would know how to find it. But yeah, I gave you a couple of samples, and I'm just going to briefly look with you at the second sample. I mean, you can check out the first one, it's pretty good. But what I didn't find so compelling about it is that the student in that sample hadn't really given enough comments about how to develop the argument of the paper. And so what I find, really nice about this sample is that this student is making comments. This is the student's letter. This is the letter that you're going to write to your peer. And again, you can use this model, and you're just going to kind of copy and paste the letter in here. And a lot of these comments, right, I don't believe the SEC ever traded stock. So they're questioning the writer to kind of think how could you make this clear? How can you work through your ideas and make them more persuasive, right? And about 2 to 3 comments per page. You don't want a wall of comments. But yeah, you definitely want to be commenting on the paper. If this is not something you feel comfortable doing, putting the in-text comments. You can put comments in as you can put comments in just as a different color text, but let me show you how you would be putting comments in if you were using Microsoft Word, right? It's pretty easy. You would basically just need to go to Review, Review, and now you can add new comments so that you can just highlight something and put a new comment, boom, makes a new comment. So it's pretty easy, right? And then when you want to go and see all the comments, you would click on all markup and all the comments would be available to you. All right, so so far we've covered both the draft that's due today and then the peer review that's due in a couple of days. And finally, when you get to do the revision, which is due by the end of the week, you'll note that once again, I've given you a sample, a revision cover letter assignment, just in case you needed to remember it from the beginning. And, it's a letter just to me. So I have the standard kind of business format letter where my address is here, your address, and you're addressing it to me. And you're writing the letter based on what I've asked you to write in the assignment. And so these are some of the things that I've asked you to tell me. What's the main crossover idea? What did you finally decide your thesis is going to be? And what stylistic connections are you making? What changed in your draft from one version to the next? What do you see as your main idea for the essay? What did you have to change, basically? And did you find any better evidence? Those kinds of things. And discuss 2 or 3 things mentioned in your peer reviews. This is really important. And if I gave you any comments on your intro and outlines that helped you, let me know what worked for you. What are the biggest problems you're having with this paper? And what are you most pleased about in this revision? And again, you would upload that by Saturday as the final product. So do review all of the documents. Make sure that you click on the Dropbox. The final paper is just going to come to me, so there's just one Dropbox assignment for it. Peer review, of course. Asking you to read and comment on the papers and also write letters. And so it's very important for people to get their drafts up today so that those peer reviews can be turned around in a couple of days. I do read both samples. One of them's from a different class entirely, but one of them is a literature peer review. And let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.